So before we get started talking about these shifting problems, I just wanted to give a little background. Shifting makes the problem easier because we are working with more familiar numbers such as 10 and 1. It still gives us the correct answer because we're still subtracting the same amount in the end. We're just shifting the numbers into a different perspective so that we can have some more familiar numbers to work with. So I just wanted to talk about this before we got started, so it was something to remember when moving forward throughout these demonstrations. So the shifting method is Holly's method in the reading piece that we read about. So the first subtraction problem that we're going to be working with is 73 minus 48. So I went ahead and wrote the two numbers in different colors so that it'd be easier to differentiate the two. I went ahead and did 73 in pink and 48 in blue, and now we're going to go ahead and start shifting. So here I'm just writing 73 minus 3 to find 70, and then I'll go ahead and do the same thing for 48. I'll do 48 minus 3 to find 45. Again, this goes ahead and goes back to what we were talking about, that we're still subtracting the same amount, but we're just moving it a little bit so that we have those more familiar numbers of the 70 being the 0 and the 45 with the 5. So now all I'm going to do is separate the 45 into tens and ones. So that's going to be the 40 and the 5. And this is just going to make it a little bit easier to do the full subtraction in the end. So again, here I'm just showing that the 40 is coming from the first 4 in the tens place, and the 5 is coming from the 5 in the ones place. Then I'm going to go ahead and move over my subtraction so that it's a little bit more organized. So I'm writing the 70, which is what we're starting with, and then we're going to first subtract the 40 from the 45, and then we'll go ahead and subtract the 5 after that. So 70 minus 40 equals 30, and then we're going to take 30 minus 5 to find our final answer of 25. So now we're moving on to our next problem, which is 415 minus 239. So again, I'm going to go ahead and color code those just so I can better track everything. First thing I'm going to do is be shifting it by 5. So we're doing 415 minus 5 equals 410. That brings us to a pretty solid number that we can familiarize ourselves with since it's a 10. And then we're going to do the same thing to the bottom so that we're subtracting the same amount. 239 minus 5 equals 234. The next step we're going to do is to make that 410 just a little bit more familiar. So we're going to subtract 10 again to get 400 instead of 410. But since we took away 10 from 410, we're going to take away 10 from 234 as well to get 224. Now that we have shifted it, I feel a little bit more comfortable working with 400 as opposed to the 415 from the beginning. So we're going to go ahead and separate our 224 into hundreds, tens, and ones. So in the hundreds place, we have 2 for 224, so it's going to be 200. For the tens, we have a 2, so that's 20. So it'll be 20 for the tens. And in the ones place, we have 4, so it'll be 4. So we're separating that 224 into 200, 20, and 4. And again, this just helps calculating our difference in the end when we're doing that subtraction. So now we're going to go ahead and move our numbers to the bottom just so I have a little bit more room to show this subtraction. So we're starting with the 400 that was originally 415, but we shifted it to 400. Then we're going to subtract the hundreds part from the 224, so the 200. So that's 400 minus 200, which equals 200. The next step we would do is subtract 20 from that 200 to find 180. So we took the tens from the 224 being 20 to find 180. And then finally Taking the ones from the 224 being 4, we're going to subtract 180 minus 4 to find our final answer of 176.